Hello and thank you for joining us on Newsnight. Food security is a need in today's Nigeria, but with floods, pests, and plant diseases, insecurity challenging the attainment of this. Biotechnology has the potential to change this. In agriculture, biotechnology enhances the production of high-yielding and disease-resistant crops, achieving food security and industrial development by doing so. My guest is convinced that Nigeria is on her way to sustained food security through biotechnology. Newsnight sat down with Professor Abdullahi Mustapha, the Director General of the National Biotechnology Development Agency. Professor Abdullahi Mustapha, thank you for speaking with us on Newsnight.
Thank you.
A lot of people will hear about biotechnology and would wonder what exactly this agency is here for. We will get into the depth of the conversations later as regards how this can help in ensuring food security, for instance, in Nigeria, and socioeconomic development. But let's start out with, what exactly is the Biotechnology Development Agency about?
Well, Biotechnology Development Agency is an agency of federal government under the auspices of Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. It is an agency that was formed in 2001. And this 2001 formation of the agency is for the agency to drive the economic prosperity, is for the agency to transform the social life of the people, is for the agency to add value to whatever produce that an industry is going to make in the country. In essence, is the driver of the current century of the country in terms of socio-economic development. What I mean is that, in modern science, we have so many drivers, but most prominent ones that can delve into all the economics situation and add value to it and make the country to move forward. Internet of Things, biotechnology, and many others. So this is the modern knowledge whereby you apply in so many areas of development and you will see progress. That is why when the agency is formed, in 2001, it was given 4 technical departments with additional supporting departments. When you take Agric, for example, agricultural biotechnology is there, and in terms of adding value to crops and livestock and fisheries as well. When you look at environment, it is for cleaner and sustainable environment. And when you look at medical, it is for different aspects, drug discovery, vaccine, and many health issues that can be solved in there, test kits and many. So anything related to medical. And when you take industry for rapid growth, adding value to what we have so that it can foster the development of the industries. So when you look at this, it means it is all encompassing. It is closing almost everything, taking care of almost everything.
So it looks like this agency was set up to more or less like encapsulate everything, as you said, as far as Nigeria is concerned. Health, industry, agriculture, and we'll get back. We're going to focus on the environment and agriculture in a bit. But in all of this time, since 2001, as you said, that the agency has been, one would wonder, how effective, what has the agency been able to come up with?
Well, you see, when it was formed initially, the biotechnology at that time was not really understood very well. But with the vision of those people that have formed the Biotechnology Agency, they have created it to see for the future development. And at that time, it was created as promotional agency to promote the biotechnology in the country. However, as time goes on, with the vision as it is going on, it has reached a state where researches has begun to take place. And it took time to convince the budget people or budget ministry to start funding research activities in the agency. And that was why it was only in 2016 that actual money for research is being released to the agency so that research activity can keep on. However, there were partnerships with a lot of people that biotechnology research activities is taking place. So with that, I will say that if you look at 2016 to date, we have achieved quite a lot in the area of agricultural sustainability, in the area of medical, and in the area of environment, and even in the area of industry. We have achieved quite a lot, and I don't know whether you want me to start discussing one after another the achievements that we have made.
It'll be good to know what the achievements are, but I would like us to narrow it down, because right now Nigeria is in a state where it's looking for every little the lowest hanging fruits to move its people forward.
That is it.
Exactly. So at what point does the Biotechnology Agency help to move the Nigerian people forward?
Let me give you one example. Let me start from agricultural biotechnology. You see, in the agricultural biotechnology, perhaps probably, I don't know whether you have an opportunity to interact with Cotton Farmers Association of Nigeria. Cotton is one big industry that transformed the country, that moved the country's economy forward, from the cotton production to the cottage industry, to the spinning, to the fabric, and then to the market. We in National Biotechnology Development Agency have deployed BT cotton. This BT cotton is a cotton that is resistant to cotton bollworm and some other insect, and is high yielding. And the lint is very lengthy and is very strong, and is what is required by the cotton industry, which means it can easily form thread. So this National Biotechnology Agency is the one that brings two hybrid of cotton. And as a result, a lot of farmers now has gone back to the farm to start farming cotton. And as a result, a lot of industries have begun to come back. I used to say that just last year, the people that are into the farming, that is the Cotton Farmers Association, have visited my office. And why they visited, they need more variety of cotton. Why? Because they have seen the advantage of that two variety that has been released in the country. And I give you an example. Last year, they farmed more than 6,000 hectares as an association in Jos. And this is something tremendous. This is something that has transformed the economy. And a lot of that cotton is being demanded outside the country and is being demanded within the country. So this is a transformation that we have brought onto the table. I'll give you another example. Another example that we have is transforming the cowpea. Cowpea means beans. In this country, we have a lot of regard for beans because it forms different kind of dishes.
Basic for a lot of meals.
Exactly. And then for nutritional value. And when you look at it, this agency, in collaboration with other agencies and international partners, for example, Africa Agricultural Technology Foundation and IAR Zaria, we have brought a variety of beans that is insect resistant, high yielding, and even drought resistant. So when you look at this value that we have added, remember some years back, if you are following the story, for example, 3 years ago, we had to even import beans from Ghana. And that year, the Ghanaian president made pronouncement that they need their beans in Ghana. So they are not selling outside the country, which means the deficit that we have, because of our population, we have to look for beans from Ghana Chad Republic, Niger Republic, and many other countries. However, if you go and do your finding this year, you know, even with the closure of the border, it's enough. You have not had people saying that we are lacking in terms of bean supply. So we have achieved quite a lot. I'm happy. I'm very much happy to say that National Biotechnology Development Agency has brought fortune to Nigeria.
Professor Mustapha, you see, I was having a conversation today with someone who said all these agencies with their big techie names, the Nigerian Atomic Energy Commission, the National Biotechnology Development Agency, the Biodiversity, all manner of agencies with big names. Yes, it's good that we have the peas, we have cotton. These are just two.
It's just two that have told you. You interrupted me. I have so many.
Okay, go ahead.
Good.
Why what is coming is because now you mentioned these two. And yes, beans is something that even the common man will relate to.
Of course.
But then there is that fear of the genetically modified product.
Well, let me just finish, maybe give you more example before I go to there. And we'll come to that because that one is something that another topic of discussion. Well, let me finish. Apart from that, just last 2 weeks, last 2 weeks, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation come and inspect our farm here, a trial farm, final trial for telomeres. Do you know what it means when we have these telomeres? This telomeres is going to transform the feed industry. The feed industry for making chicken feed and even animal feed and whatever. And then for consumption of human, confectionaries and many other food variety that we made from maize. So this maize is a maize that is very, very high yielding. It's a maize that is insect resistant,
drought resistant,
and is a maize that is drought resistant. And if we have this in the country, the yield is going to increase tremendously. We don't need to import maize, but rather we will export maize. It is going to be released probably by the end of next month, that is December, or early January, but I think by the end of December. So when you look at this, the value, the quantum of money, the food nutrition, the security, food security that is going to add to Nigeria is very tremendous. And when you look at the area of medical, this one is just something that has been delivered. In the area of medical, okay, let me go back to the agri. We have in the field now a transformation practice that is going on herbicide-tolerant soybean. This soybean, it has a very long value chain. And this soybean, when it is produced, a lot of people have been phoning this agency, and me in particular, saying that when is the soybean going to be ready? Because it's a different brand that is different from what we are planting, very short, and is herbicide tolerant. So you can easily spray herbicide, and then this soybean is not going to take in the chemicals. It's resistant against that chemical that you spray. So it will grow and it will give you high yield, and then it is going to be healthy for eating. It has a value also in the economy. We have genetic transformation of Nigerian livestock for the production of meat and for the production of milk. Bonaji is one of them. And those cows are meant to produce large quantity of milk. And what we have started is, this milk we have targeted 10 to 15 liters per cow per day, which means a farmer can be able to get 10 to 15 liters per cow per day. We have just started. We've started because we don't want to say we are aiming for 50 liters or 40 liters per cow per day, but we've started with this aim. It can be more than that. So what we do now, we searched from among the breeded cattle across the globe. And we found in Brazil, there is one cattle breed called Geralando that is similar in terms of sustainability and withstanding our weather condition. And we study quite a lot that Geralando. And we see there is similarity between Geralando and this Bonagi. And we now get the semen from Brazil, and then we inseminate about 150. We targeted 250 last year, and we inseminated about 152 cattle. And we were lucky to have almost 120 something that took in. And we have delivery now. All of them have put to bed, and we have F1. F1, what we intend to do, the bulls are separated from the cows that can provide milk. So we separated them. I can't give you that statistics because I don't know how many are the male, how many are the female. So with that, now we have taken some sample from them, and then what we do is we check sequential, we do genetic sequencing, and we see from the inception which one take the actual character that can provide large quantity of milk to just focus on it. So we now are studying that to see how many has taken around 100%, 90%, 80%, even 20%. We try as much as possible to see how we can now identify and find out exactly how many are we to focus on. Those that we are going to focus, those that have like 90, 80 to 100, we separate them in one place. And those that have 20, 30, 40, we improve on them. So that is what we take in terms of transforming the Nigerian cattle breed. And in terms of fattening, you know, our cattle mostly highest is around 200 to 220 kilograms. But when you go to other countries like Paraguay and is it Uruguay? Yes, or that's those countries that export meat. Yeah. You see their cows are weighing over 400 kilograms. So you can see almost double. If we are going to take this cattle farming into seriousness, I mean to start exporting, our cattle are very, very sweet. And the moment we give them attention, we take farming of this livestock as real farming, we are going to make a lot of money because these cattle taste very, very good. And what we are aiming is to now improve on the cattle so that we can have almost 300 to 400 kilograms of an improved cattle. So we are working on that, but this main one that we are working on, the milk improvement, is what we are concentrating on. And
how soon would that come out?
We have already started getting F1. And I told you it's because of lack of money. That is why we limit. But even apart from lack of money, if you want to start something, don't say you are going to take everything at one go. If you take, for example, India, they took about 40 years to transform their cattle. Go to Brazil, 40 years. Go to New Zealand, almost 50 years to transform their cattle. And if at all we have not started, wherever we are, we can't move an inch, which means I said we should start, even if it is with one cow. But luckily, we have started with 150. We have got F1. This year, we are targeting 2,500 to 5,000 cattle. What we are doing is we are now taking the cattle from. We are not buying the cattle, but we are using private farms.
Okay.
And these private farms, we have agreement with them. We inseminate the cows, and then we tell them this is how the practice is, and this is how they are going to go about it, and then we monitor.
How do you work? Because there are very few ranched cattle right now.
There are many.
That's right, but not as many as we would want to see. So how do you select them? Must all the cattle be ranched before you can bring them into this process?
You know, this is just a beginning. When people see fortune in whatever you're doing, they will quickly come. Now the F1 has been delivered successfully. Then a lot of farms are approaching us from various sections across the nation. They are approaching us to see how we can come and engage them into this program.
You know, Professor Mustapha, this matter of all that you're doing right now is quite interesting. But again, I'll ask the question, how quickly can this get into the streets? I mean, a loaf of bread right now is over 1,000 naira. That's what we used to buy for 250 at the beginning of the year or thereabout. A mudu of beans, for instance, is up there so that the prices can come down and people can afford to buy food.
Well, let me tell you something. You know, we do our science and we give it to the uptakers. Yes, it is our duty to look at problems and solve it. But it is now left for the farmers, agri-extension workers, and the marketers to now utilize the opportunity. For example, last year, we have shortage of the seed that we give to farmers for planting. But we have now understood that you have to bring in new seed companies to start multiplying this seed so that seed is not going to be short.
So let me ask.
Yes.
So at harvest, usually, I mean, I grew up in the village. So my grandmother, when she goes to farm, after harvesting, what happens is she puts aside a certain portion of all that has been harvested, maize, yam, and all of that, so that she can go back for the next planting season. Can't these ones that have been harvested be planted again?
It can be, but you know, for the yield, that is one big problem with the farming if you are not very much enlightened. There are, let me give you some example even on the layman's farming system. Our grandfathers, what they do is they pick from that particular harvest they made, they select, they know how to select the quality ones and they keep for next season.
Yes.
That is to tell you that it's not everything that you harvest that you can easily go and plant. When you do that, you're going to lose a lot. The value, the yield, and whatever is not going to be what you are expecting. So also, the seed that we plant, if you give that opportunity to the seed companies, they know how to do the good practice to multiply it for you and then sell it to you as a cheap price. So you go, you don't need to start selecting and keep it, but you can do that. It's not a matter of saying that you cannot do, but the yield is not going to be the same with if you buy from the companies. So this is the difference.
Why do we need to put aside our own natural products?
Good. I was discussing with somebody from African Agricultural Technology Foundation. He left. He was their representative here. He traveled from Nigeria to Niger to all these countries up to far away. He listed the name of the countries. He said all through these countries, he has been observing the corn, Guinea corn that he see people planting. They have been improved 20 years ago and they have never been improved again. And that is why a lot of people cannot farm it because it's not yielding as very high. And then farmer want to make profit. So if you have not done that, and there is even a disease called striga that is killing that particular Guinea corn. So if you have not improved, you have not used science to improve this, you are still wanting to stay in dark ages. Are you telling me you're looking for progress? Now science and technology has come. Let me give you an example of the car that you drove. Those days when you were like 10 years, the cars that was on the road, you know it cannot reach 200 miles per hour. But now we have cars that can reach 300 miles per hour. It's an advancement.
I wouldn't drive down.
No, it's just to tell you that science has improved. There is one bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. You take the gene is repelling the insect. So you insert it into the crop, and the crop will be resistant to that insect. And that insect is not going to eat that particular crop, and is going to allow the crop to grow fully, and is going to allow the crop to be harvested in high yield. instead of at that other conventional method to use insecticide, if you are using, I will give you an example of this cowpea. If you are using insecticide, and this insecticide, you have to purchase it. How much are you purchasing it? You are spending millions of dollars, because per hectare, you have to have some quantity of this insecticide to spray. And the spray is not going to be 1 or 2 times. At times, it can reach up to 78 times. Now, how much are you spending on that spray? You have added to the cost of production of that particular crop.
But are we also concerned about what that bacteria will do to the human body? Is that also taken into cognizance?
It doesn't.
I mean,
it doesn't do anything.
In adding it to the crop, do they also do the testing to ensure that
yes,
it doesn't have any after effects on the human body?
That is it. It's not adding the bacteria, but it's the gene.
The gene, rather.
Gene is a building block of life. And then if you added it, it's now going to grow, because already your body has accepted, the body of the crop has accepted it. And then there were a lot of tests that has been done to make sure everything is safe. And that is why genetically modified organisms take a longer years to make sure it is being done. So, which means it will take some processes, longer time for scrutiny to happen. And that is why we have lots of agencies that are taking each and every step into cognizance to make sure those steps, protocols, and cautions have been observed. We have National Biosafety Management Agency, which is supervising that, and which is not here, is under the Ministry of Environment.
When we return, we ask Professor Mustapha about the concerns and anxieties around genetically modified crops and collaborations with other institutions. Professor Mustapha, welcome back. I know I said I was going to ask you about some of the constraints you've had to deal with in terms of funding, because you mentioned funding earlier, and why we're not doing all of this in food crops like cassava that everybody, you eat and is longing for. Plus, even the industries are looking for cassava right now. We're not able to meet. But before we get to that, you mentioned the US. You asked a question earlier if I've taken cereal in the US and all of that. But when you get into the shops in the US, you asked a question of, you see the organic and inorganic. How does that differentiate? How's that different from what we're talking about here?
Well, when you talk about organic and inorganic, you're not talking about biotechnology. You're talking about the farming system. Organic, the conventional way, ancient way of farming, where you don't apply inorganic fertilizers to your crops. That is the actual. So you use manure to fertilize your crops. But when you use inorganic manure, NPK, urea, and what have you, then this is called inorganic, which means you have used a modern way by applying this
processed manure and all.
Yes. So that is how.
So in other words, we have been eating inorganic products in Nigeria.
Yeah, everywhere, because that is it. But that is not biotechnology.
Okay.
Well, biotechnology is a method, scientific method, that will get you quick result, and that you can improve on the system that is existing in the society. I'll tell you, for example, in ancient days, biotechnology has been happening, because at that time, there was brewing of this alcohol. That is biotechnology, where microorganism goes there to ferment in the whatever substrate to produce alcohol.
Yeah.
That is biotechnology. And also in those days, remember, if you want to introduce guava into lemon, you cut this and you add this, and then you perceive the smell. And there are a lot of ways that you do manipulation to find a result. Or if you have German Shepherd, you wanted to cross it with Nigerian breed, you have to follow some certain ways. That is biotechnology. If you have like this insemination, it's biotechnology. However, the difference is In nowadays biotechnology, there is a quick way of getting result. I'll give you one good example. During the era of COVID, the ravaging situation, a lot of people dying. If the situation has not been arrested using biotechnology, it could have been up to now people are dying. And only God knows how many people will die. So biotechnology has been used to find a solution within a year for the COVID-19.
And that's why it took a shorter period for the vaccine to come out. Or even though the vaccines come out and they've been after effects of the vaccine and all that.
No, have you witnessed any after effect?
I mean, I've had a couple of people
have you witnessed it?
I have a friend who's taken the vaccine but had COVID after that.
No. I don't think.
I have a friend who's
No, a lot of people, I don't think so. But still, this is medical situation. Some people can be like that. I mean, you take anti, but it may not work on you.
Okay.
And it may work on somebody. So it's not always 100%. Whatever you're doing, even the drugs, the paracetamol you're taking, when somebody took it, it is not going to work for him.
True.
He has to take another brand or another thing to get the pain relief. So that is normal. That is okay.
Prof, let's, because we're running out of time and we're looking at how biotechnology, indeed, it's coming very handy, as you've said, to help agriculture and food security in Nigeria. But there are some issues that are there. You mentioned earlier about funding, money. Money is a huge challenge. And even though you've done so much, there's so much that you could do if you had all the money. So I know that funding is a challenge, but let's look at the matter of personnel and the appropriate legislation for all of this, especially in cases like cassava.
Well, to be honest with you, cassava is being improved and improvement is going on cassava quite a lot. As an agency, we are working within the agency and there are other people that are working on biotechnology in their agencies, but we still have we still have a team with them to see how we can work together and then prosper. Collaboration, we have collaboration. So there is National Root Crop Research Institute.
There's also the IIT in Ibadan.
Yes, so National Root Crop Research Institute, they have already upgraded cassava, vitamins A cassava, and all other cassavas, different variety.
What about the yield?
The yield is one paramount important thing that they have concentrated on, and then there is a lot that is going on. We are partnering with them because we are solely responsible for biotechnology value addition in the country.
Yeah.
But there is a lot that is going on in the Root Crop Research Institute in Umudiki. So that is going on fully. And a lot of researches are going on, and that is why you are seeing Nigeria is...
So funding is not a problem?
Well, that is another side you have taken for the when you ask cassava. But here in National Biotechnology Development Agency, what we want is more funding. More funding in the sense that we want to have our transformation laboratory here in the country, so that whatever transformation we are going to do, we do it within the country and then not leveraging on maybe we have to send people or people have to come. We have to do quite a lot. We take time. All these things, if we have the transformation lab here, it is going to help quite a lot in doing quite a lot of transformation here.
Do we have the personnel?
We do. We do. Just today, a staff of mine, who is a director in Biotechnology department, saying that one person who is a very good expert in molecular biology, who can do this manipulation, has come back from, is it Australia or I think Australia. He just come back 2 days ago. And what we need is to provide them with sophisticated, latest equipment so that we just pull everybody together here and we do everything within National Biotechnology Development Agency. I'm not saying that we are not going to collaborate. We are collaborating. I'm not saying that we don't need other places to do some other things, because it entails quite a lot of broad work. It's not just as simple as you think it is. This gene is very tiny. You cannot see it with your naked eyes, but you have to do the transformation using sophisticated equipment to do the transformation. And as well now, I will tell you, if Nigeria, though we are leading in Africa, Nigeria is leading in terms of biotechnology in Africa. Before it was South Africa, but we have overtaken it. A lot of people are coming here to learn about what we are doing here in National Biotechnology Development Agency in Nigeria. Some months ago, we have received Mozambique, we received Ethiopia, we received Ghana, we received Malawi, and many more countries, African countries that are coming here in Nigeria to learn what we are doing. So if we can get this equipment, we will continue to lead and we'll be at par with Western countries in terms of genetic transformation. And when we have that advantage, only God knows where Nigeria can stop, because we have very intellectual people that can easily use this platform to do quite a lot of advantageous scientific founding that can help Nigeria in terms of development socio-economically. There is now an advanced biotechnology which is called genome editing. This genome editing now is a precise science where it will just directly go to the gene and make sure if there is going to be addition, subtraction, or doing whatever modification so that it can give you exactly what you want.
This is not cloning, right?
It's not cloning.
But this
is genome editing. Okay. It's just normal. It's normal thing. That is why even the regulation is not so strict. And now the world had advanced into that stage. And this, if we are not doing what we are doing now, we'll be lagging behind and we'll be watching from far. For example, this vaccine that I've told you, this messenger RNA vaccine, if we have not started, there will be no day that we will start. But we have started. When I came into this agency, I say we must start doing something on all these things that I've told you. And now we have started the vaccine development, and for sure, I will tell you that one day I will call you to tell you that we have developed the vaccine technology and we can produce vaccines here in this country.
Vaccines for everything.
Yes.
All the vaccines. But let's look at this. How is it then that we have universities, federal universities, private universities with biology labs, science labs and all of that, medical laboratories and all of that? Is this agency working with the universities? And how are you doing it? Do you do an exchange of personnel or exchange of, I don't know. Are the universities a part of what government is doing in these agencies?
Yes, of course.
How?
We have partnerships. We have collaboration with universities. We have with 6 premier universities in the country. We have partnerships. We are trying to come together this, by early next month, to come together and see how we can move forward. We have started quite early, and then we are trying to see how is funding that is limiting this thing. They have faculty, they have departments, they have centers of biotechnology across the nation. Almost now universities are transforming because of the advantage of biotechnology. Universities are forming even faculty of biotechnology, not even department, because of the advantages that it has, because of the promise that it carries. So in Nigeria, we have many, many institutions that have this biotechnology department. However, we also have collaborations with those universities. For example, the IARs that I mentioned to you is Institute of Agricultural Research in Zaria, ABU Zaria, under ABU Zaria. And we are working hand in hand with them, and then the prospect is very good. We have with University of Port Harcourt, we have University of Baden, and all these premier universities, and University of Maiduguri, we have, and University of Jos, we have this collaboration that we are working together. We are intending to work further to make sure that we bring the best brains to work for Nigerian development. We are even extending it to the diaspora to call, most especially on this vaccine. I'm very soon going to call on diaspora people to come and let's see how we put hand to get the technology. If at all Cuba can do that, with all the barricade, with all what Cuba was going through, can produce 4 candidates for COVID-19 vaccine, can produce various drugs by themselves, Why not Nigeria? With all our intellectuals that are in diaspora, with all our intellectuals that are here in this country, we will do that, and for sure we'll bring out results. I'm very much optimistic.
On the lighter hand, Prof, you mentioned all the universities, but you did not mention the only university in Nigeria.
Which one?
I mean, University of Nigeria.
Nsukka, yes, we have.
You didn't mention.
Partnership.
You didn't mention.
No,
you
it's
mentioned
in my mind. It is there. We have partnership with Nsukka. Of course, we do. Thank you for reminding me. We do that.
Okay, Prof. Thank you so much. As we begin to wind down, you might say this is not your purview, so to speak. But again, I'll bring it here because the president talks about moving Nigerians out of poverty. Millions of Nigerians out of poverty. One of the biggest effects of poverty is hunger. The purchasing power of the Nigerian has somewhat dropped vis-a-vis foreign exchange and all that. It has dropped. So whatever they are able to buy or whatever they are able to plant and harvest, they'll be looking to see how long it will last. So the question of processing, is this agency even looking in that? And storage of the ones that have even been planted and harvested, is that being looked into as well?
Well, almost every agency has its own mandate. Our own mandate is research and development and promotion. However, there is an agency for sure that is looking into the produce and storage. That agency is the one that has sole responsibility of that storage and produce. And I think is in Ibadan. I think so.
No, why I ask is because you're doing research and development. Are you also researching how these products, their shelf life, the shelf life of these products you're working on?
Yes, of course. For example, I'll give you an example. Now we have research, genome editing research, which we are partnering with African Union Development Authority out in NABDA. Which even next week, we are going to have a meeting on validation of the workshop. We have gathered so many things that we are working on. The tomato shelf life, we have taken tomato and we have started. Tomato shelf life, for example, if you look at perishable items that is being produced by farmers, these farmers can produce, if as a result of probably poor road, as a result of excessive heat, as a result of bad, maybe the car have spoiled along the way. So all these things, the moment you spend 3, 4, 5 days, those perishable items will rot. And the farmer is going to lose everything. And even he has to pay for the transport. So when you look at this, we said we have to start with tomato. And we have started with tomato now. We're working on it to use genome editing now, the advanced technology, to see how we can transform the shelf life. Instead of when you produce tomato, if you do not use the fresh tomato within 1 week or maximum 7, 8, 9, 10 days, it will rot. So we have seen the possibility of extending the shelf life to maybe up to a month, so that people can buy tomato at that fresh status, or the farmers can transport tomato from Kano to Lagos, from Kano to Port Harcourt, and you find it very fresh without this panicking that it is going to spoil. And you see, not only tomato, there are a lot of perishable items. So we'll start with tomato. You know, this agency, as I've told you, we have got funding from 2016. We cannot say that we are going to do everything at one go. We do take time from one item to another. We are doing it so that we have to be very, very careful. Whatever we are going to produce is going to be safe. Safe for people to consume, safe for environment, safe for even the animals and whatever you think is going to be associated with that produce. So we have to exercise caution, and we have to try until we are satisfied 100% this is edible. We are satisfied 100% this is safe. So that is when it is going to be released.
Prof, I can't let you go without asking this question. You mentioned the environment and all that you do. You know, earlier when you talked about the agriculture, you talked about health, you talked about industry, and you mentioned the environment. With this matter of climate change and all that you're working with all of these plants and all, what are you doing for the environment?
Well, the environment, you know, we are aiming for cleaner and sustainable environment.
Are you creating ozone layers?
How can you create ozone layer? You mean you have to start emitting gases? So what we do in the environment is that we clean the environment. We bring clean energy. Clean energy, we have developed a biodigester that can produce gas. The gas can be used for cooking, can be used for electricity, can be used also for warming your room if you want to warm it, for boiling water, for whatever. You understand? So that biodigester is using waste, and that waste you transform it to energy. So from waste to energy is there. We are working with some other agencies like REA, Rural Electrification Agency, and we are partnering. They are going to deploy those produce that we have produced to rural community. Instead of you to go to China to buy, we have it here. We have already validated, we have done everything, we patented, and then we have collaborated. So this is ready for uptaking. Anybody who is interested in coming to uptake this to produce it in large quantity, we have done it. We have done it with locally sourced material, and the science, the technology of bringing out gas, digesting this waste to bring out gas is what we have automated, is our local technology. And to clean the gas, to make sure it is methane that is released, also is our own local technology. And in terms of cleaning of environment, like the Ogoni land and the oil spillage,
yes,
we are working on that. We are trying to find out. We have got some candidates. In our last deliberation, last month, they have told me that we have got 4 candidates of bacteria that can eat up the oil and that can digest it up to a level of water and carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Water and carbon dioxide. You understand? And just to make water digest.
That will go to clean up could take less than 25 years. If these candidates are...
No, I've not come to that level to give you a time.
No, I'm saying if these candidates you've talked about now, but maybe by the time you're done with your research and you release them into that space, it can clean up that area faster.
No, it's not about releasing. The technology is not like you just come and release the microorganism. No. There are a lot of ways that you can do that. They can trap, you can use like the water to recycle. There are a lot of ways. But getting the microorganism is the paramount. When you get the microorganism, then you see which method are you going to use to clean up the environment, to make sure, and there are also phytoremediation research that is going on, using the plant to clean the environment, to make sure that it has taken the oil and make sure that the oil has been digested, and then you have a harmless soil, and soil can be revived, and the microorganism can live in it, and then you can farm on it. You understand? So that is the technology that we are working on. In that environment, we have gone far. Also, in the environment department, we have tank farm cleaning. Tank farm cleaning in the sense that you don't bring waste to the environment. The vessels or the tank farm that you store crude oil, the stored crude oil will sediment. And this crude oil, when it sediments, you just have to use chemical to now use the chemical and throw it away. And that is bringing environmental pollution. But this technology is using microorganism where you just get the microorganism in certain proportion, and then you put that in tank farm, and then the crude oil is going to bounce back into the actual crude. So you just go into the process of treating it to get whatever you want to get, just as fresh crude oil. So we have that research that is available. We are working with NNPC, NSAF, and we are working with Moroccan people that have come. We are collaborating on them. We are collaborating with them, and we are waiting within shortest possible time to get access to start implementing this research to make sure that we bring sanity to the environment, we bring cleaner environment. This is just a few. There are a lot that are happening.
Indeed, Prof. I know that if we do not stop here now, we'll just continue for the next 2 hours. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's program has come to an end. We thank you for joining us. Your opinions on this discussion matter to us, and you can engage with us through our social media handles displayed on your screen. Additionally, you can listen to this episode and past episodes of the program via our website at channelstv.com/podcast. I'm Neo Taigbe. Bye-bye.